Good morning. Happy Sunday. We're here at 10 a.m., which is super exciting. I'm just going to pin this. Oh, I spelled that wrong. I'm going to do it again. Sorry. How are we feeling? I'm pretty excited that we're live without any glitches. Yesterday I tried maybe, 80 times at 10 a.m. Okay, here we go. There, amazing. Okay, we're here. I was like, it's so weird when you do a session later than you normally do. I'm so used to doing that 10 a.m. spot, so I had to mentally collect myself to do it again kind of at 1 p.m. But I love you all and thank you for showing up again, and we're here and we're live. It looks like Wi-Fi is all good. It's not raining out here, so we should be good to go. Hi to everybody. I love you. We're going to be using a small stability ball today, so if anybody is new here, this ball is about 9 inches. I do have a link in my bio for a ball if you want to add one. If not, we can also use a firm pillow. You can use a towel. I mentioned in my stories before this that we're going to be starting on one knee. So if you ever have any kneecap issues or you're feeling any sort of pressure there, you're going to want to start with the towel underneath your knee, kind of like this. So just to add some extra support. Also, mats are kind of all over the place in terms of thickness. So if you have a really, really thin mat, make sure you add some extra support there. We're going to add a little bit of new stuff, a little bit of, stuff that we've been working on. And I guess I feel like questions have kind of been answered. I've been slowly trying to answer more and more questions. I've been a little bit slow on that, but it'll all be coming, I promise. So, all right, it's 10:01. Okay, this is going to be a 60-minute full body exercise, and we're going to start on one knee. So I'm going to start on my left knee. My right foot's going to be directly in front of my hips. So I'm going to try to take both legs directly in front of my hips. My back foot is fully relaxed. So the ball comes in front of your body. You're going to give it a squeeze here and drop the shoulders. I just want you to start by doing some breathing exercises. You're going to take a deep inhale as you start to stretch your arms up over your head, and then you're going to exhale. Start to draw the arms in here. So you're going to take a deep inhale. We're trying to lift up off that supporting knee, and then exhale, drop it down. Let's do 2 more. Deep inhale and exhale. So you're reminding yourself that breath is very expansive. You're opening up your breath. You're kind of opening up your ribs here. Let's do 1 more. And exhale. So we're going to start to hinge forward. So you're just going to bend your front knee slightly. Use your abdominals to shift back. So you're just slightly hinging forward or stretching out of that left hip flexor. So I'm elongating out of this part of my body, stretching it through and lift. And let's do 3 more here. 2 more. So it is going to be some quad movements here. You're going to feel your hip flexors a little bit. I also want you to tap into your glutes. So right after this one, we're going to pull back to center, and now you're going to pull this hip backwards. So we're going to kind of straighten that right leg just slightly, and then bend it down. So you're shifting your hips backwards, pulling in your glute and down. So it's this supporting glute, pulling yourself backwards. You're kind of connecting behind your leg and down. Still dropping the shoulders, pulling it back. So still core, you'll feel your glutes immediately start to work here. And 1 more. And now you're going to shift backwards and hold. We're going to start to extend your arms out in front of you, bending the elbows in. So now my upper body is at a slight forward hinge, pulling in the core. So reaching it out. You're still squeezing the ball slightly to create a little bit of resistance in your arms and your biceps. You're starting to connect behind your shoulder blades as well. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. You're going to start to tuck your back toe underneath. We're going to start to hover it up. So you're going to lift up through here. Slowly drop it down. Let's lift up. So you're going to press it out so your front leg stays bent. Drop it down. So you're thinking lifting up through the core, stretching out through that leg. Drop it down. Let's do 2 more. And And one more. We're gonna hold here. You're gonna start to reach your arms out. We're just gonna bend your elbows into your side, stretching your arms out. So you're elongating through that back leg. You're still connecting into this supporting foot in the front and into that glute. Keep your breath going. Let's do 3 more. Feeling the glute immediately today. 2 more. And 1 more. And you're going to drop the knee down. Let's take this back knee back here, and you're going to open up your knees. So let's externally rotate in the hips slightly. You're going to still take the ball in front of your body. Start to lift up through the abdominals again. You can keep your heels together, lifting up through here, taking a breath. Start to reach your hands forward and bending it in. So you're stretching it out. And let's try to open up the hips. You're going to feel your glutes here also, but really focus on the abdominal work. Start to hinge backwards. Your hips are pulling backwards. Your arms are reaching forward. And exhale to lift. Reaching it out. And lift. And then pull the abdominals in. Shoulders are dropped. And lift. Let's do a few more of these. Now you should be kind of evenly distributing your weight in the center of your body. We started on one leg, we immediately tapped into those glutes. So you'll probably feel that side working a little bit more. We're going to go over to the other side after this. Stretch it all the way out. You're going to take the ball into one arm. You're just going to take your hands back behind you, switching the ball from your hands. Just starting to warm up your arms. Create some circulation here in your blood, starting to create some heat. Keep the abdominals in. Check in with your neck to make sure that your neck is relaxed. And then we're going to switch arms, so the ball goes into the opposite arm. And you'll find the difference too when one ball is in. It's not so much about the weight, it's mostly about how your shoulder opens up in the back. Open. Keep breathing through it. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. Reaching your hands forward through here. Start to bend the elbows in as you lift up in the chest. Stretching it out again. Let's lift up. Squeeze here, opening up the chest. And out. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. Good. And then let's lift all the way up. Let's get prepped for the other side. So you're going to turn this knee into parallel, taking your front leg forward. Giving yourself kind of a wide enough stance where you feel supported, your body weight is kind of even over this back knee, but you feel like you're really grounded to the ground, but really can lift up to the core. So we're going to find this position here. Dropping the shoulders, squeezing the ball as you press your arms out and then bend it in. So you're stretching it out, bending it in. Still breathing. You don't have to necessarily pull this hip backwards just yet. We're kind of finding our center here first. 1 more. And then you're going to keep your elbows bent. You're just going to pull your weight forward, stretching out of that right hip flexor, and then using your abdominals to come back in. So it's this glute is starting to work. You're pressing through this heel, pulling it back. Also, if you can check in to make sure like where your nose is in the center of your body, you're going kind of like slightly past your knee. You're trying not to rotate over to the side and back. Let's do 1 more here. And now you're going to shift your weight backwards. So we're going to pull this hip back. So you're lifting in and up here. Come back to center. So it's that draw. You're lifting in and up, almost reaching it up to the ceiling. Still dropping the shoulders. Still checking in with your neck to make sure it's fully relaxed. And let's do 3 more. And relaxing that back foot also. And 1 more. You're going to hover in this position. Start to extend your arms out. Bend it in. Stretching it out. Bending it in. So reminding yourself that you're intentionally moving here, okay? So every movement has a purpose. So whether your arms are out or in, we're still creating energy, lengthening out, pulling it in. So both directions will have a purpose in terms of connecting into your muscles, connecting deeply into your core. Let's do 1 more. And then we're going to bend your elbows through here, dropping the shoulders again, extending your arms out. Let's tuck the toe back behind you. We're going to start to hover up. We're going to go into this position where you stretch out through that back leg, dropping the knee down. Stretching through, elongating out of that leg. Drop it down. Now's a really great moment to find that focal point, because if you start looking around, sometimes you'll lose your balance and lose that control in your core. And let's do 2 more. 1 more. Let's hover in this position. Start to bend the elbows, stretching it out. Let's do a couple here. 3 more. Feeling warm now. And 1 more. Whew. Drop that knee down. Let's take this leg backwards. You're going to squeeze the ball between your legs. So we're going to start to work the inner thighs. Give the glutes, give the quads a little bit of a break. Take your hands onto your pelvis. You're going to roll your shoulders back. Start to take a deep inhale and exhale. Deep inhale and exhale. Start to reach your hands forward through here. We're going to take your arms backwards, open your chest. So we're going to start to open up the chest. We were holding the ball in front of you here. So we're going to start to work more of your triceps. Really focus on opening up the clavicle here. All the way out. And let's do 1 more. And then we're going to reach your hands forward. I want you to just open your arms out into a T, taking your hands forward in front of you. So we're opening it up. Still a lot of abdominals when you're opening up your arms. It's inhale here and exhale. And then also, as you're taking your arms out to the side, even though your arms are lifted, you're still kind of pressing down. So you're trying to connect behind your arms, behind your lats, by still pressing down to the floor. Changes the movement, makes it a lot more intense, a lot more intentional. Taps into a deeper layer of muscle, not just your bicep or your tricep right on top. It gets all the way in towards your bones. Reaching the hands out through here, squeezing the hands in, and then out to the side. In. My legs are quivering. I can feel my glutes still working. Can you feel that? It's like the inner thigh, low abdominal lift. And let's do 2 more. 1 more. Let's turn your palms facing up to the ceiling. Let's reach your hands up. Turn the palms down as you take your hands all the way down to your side. Palms go out as you lift. On the inhale, exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale. 3 more. Check in with your neck too. Make sure it's fully relaxed. Also trying to keep your neck in line with your spine. So if you're finding yourself kind of looking one way, make sure that you look the opposite way too, just to even out. Try not to strain in one side of your neck. Reaching your hands forward and back. And then you're going to reach them forward, and we're going to slowly make our way over to our hands and knees. Your palms are going to be directly underneath your shoulders. Your knees are underneath your hips. Abdominals are in here. We're going to shift forward very slightly. You're going to pull your abdominals back, almost like your abdominals are just pulling, 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 and that's driving your body backwards here. Shift it forward and back. So pulling in the core, stretching out through those arms. Really nice. Open it up. You can really feel deeply in the core when you tell yourself the core is the beginning part of this move. So it's really pulling in and up here. Let's do 2 more. Shoulders are back. The inside of your elbows are facing forward to really keep your chest nice and open. And 1 more. And let's hold in this position. We're just going to shrug your shoulders. So you're going to pull your chest down to the ground as you squeeze your shoulder blades together. Push through your palms as you use your abdominals to lift. So we're shrugging your shoulders here, pushing it through and lifting. All the way down. Think abdominals in and up. 3 more. And lift. Keep breathing through this. 2 more. And lift. 1 more. And then we're going to hold this position. Go into your cat and cow, so rounding all the way up, pulling in the core. And then open up your chest. Think of this as not just a stretch, it's still abdominal exercise. You're rounding all the way up. And then opening up the chest. One more time. You're going to round it all the way up, and then we're going to end in a flat back here. Shoulders are down away from your ears. And then we're going to hold this position just for a second to really connect into the core. We're going to start to bend your elbows very slightly. Your chest goes down to the floor, pushing through your palms as you lift. So very, very small here. And lift. And let's do 3 more. You can also test your abdominal strength by hinging slightly forward, keeping your spine very flat. And 1 more. Good, and then go into a cat and cow stretch. Round it all the way up, and then exhale, pulling your shoulders back, opening up in your chest. Let's round up again. And then hover in this flat position. We're going to take one arm back behind you. So you're going to stretch this arm out. You're going to feel like you're pulling your fingertips kind of as far away from your ears as possible, and drop it down. We're going to go over to the other side. So you're stretching it out, dropping it down. Stretching through, elongating out of your neck, drop it down. So your legs are in parallel, the ball is still there for a reason, so you're connecting through your inner thighs. Your inner thighs are connecting to your low abdominals, and your low abdominals are connecting to your pelvic floor and the rest of your body here. All the way out. And now we're going to turn your palm facing down to the floor. So we're going to open it up through here, and down. It's going to go palm. So you're kind of like twisting your arm around, your palm faces down. Try not to twist your body. Let's hold this arm up through here. Shoulders are back. You're going to start to bicep curl this arm. Press it back. Pull it in and back. Keep the abdominals in. Keep really lifting up off that supporting arm. Let's do 3 more. 2 more, and 1 more, and then drop that arm down. Check in with your focus to make sure that you're looking slightly past your fingertips here. So we're going to go over to the other side, start to bicep curl this one, and back. So check in also with the weight on your knees. Make sure that you're not too far over to that side with the arm that's lifted. You're evening out here. Let's do 3, 2 more. And 1 more. Ooh, hello, heat. And drop it all the way down. Let's go into a cat and cow. Round it all the way up. Pull your chest open, shoulders back, go into the extension that feels right for you, and then you're going to round it all the way up. And then go into your extension. We're going to do 1 more, round it all the way up. And then back to center. We're going to take your right arm down to the floor. So we're going to turn it facing inwards. Your hips are going to go over to the left. And you're going to find a straight line from your knees all the way to your shoulders. Your hips are lifted up off the ground. We're going to extend this top arm all the way out. Start by pulling in the core. We're going to dip your hips down to the floor. And then we're going to lift it up. So it's just a very slight dip. You're squeezing the ball here, trying to keep your hips forward. So we're not arching, but we're not tucking also. Dip and lift. Very tiny here. Good. So your abdominals are driving this move. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. And then 1 more. We're going to lift up and hold here. We're going to take this top arm up and over your head. Just drop it down by your side. We're going to slide it forward, reach it up, and open. So we're drawing kind of a circle with this arm, keeping your abdominals in. Let's do 2 more here. 1 more. And then reverse. So we're going to take the hand up and over, slide it through down towards your hip. Also, if you have any sort of neck issues, you can look down towards your bottom arm. Also, if you feel like you need a little more support on that shoulder, you can make a fist here and lift. You can make a flat hand kind of to press it down. So really finding your arm position that works right for you. All the way up and over. And then we're going to drop your hips down. So we're going to find this position. Both arms are down. Keeping the core, and again, starting to lift up off the shoulder. We're going to go up 1 more time. Lifting up here and hold. Reaching this top arm up. You're going to fold that arm underneath. We're doing a little rotation underneath your body. And then open it up. Whew. Keep breathing through. Take an inhale here. And then open it up. As you're twisting underneath, check in with your hips to make sure that your hips are not rotating with you. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. Open it up. Beautiful. Drop your hips down. Let's face down towards the ground. We're going to stretch out this supporting arm. So we're going to go into a child's pose. You're going to fold this opposite arm underneath and get a nice big stretch. You're going to catch your breath also. Feeling this stretch come all the way from your abdominals, like right underneath your ribs. It's really elongating out, stretching through there. And then let's make our way onto the other side. So before you get into this position, the ball is squeezed here. You're going onto your elbow and you're going to check in to make sure knees, hips, shoulders, elbow, everything is in line. So this first position here, just the little dips, are to try to get you kind of into that position, try to get you into the neutral pelvis and try to make sure that your abdominals are helping you here. We're dipping it down, lifting it up, very tiny. I'm also squeezing my feet because I feel like it kind of allows myself to kind of ground through my inner thighs a little bit more, connecting into the ball a little bit more. So dipping it down and lift. So you're leading from the core, you're leading from the bottom. Both sides are working here. Lift it up. Let's do 2 more. And lift 1 more. And then we're going to hold this position. So your top arm comes up over your head. You're going to slide it parallel to the floor, reach it down towards your hip. Lift it all the way up. So reminding yourself your core is still controlling this move. It's great to also open up that shoulder. We're getting a nice open shoulder socket there. Still a lot of core. Check in with your neck. If you need to look down, that's okay. And then reverse, reaching that hand all the way up and around. So it's a big circle, but you're trying not to compromise the rest of your body. So the rest of your body is staying stable as this arm continues to circle. 1 more. And then drop the hip down for a second. This is kind of your moment to regroup, lift up off your shoulder, take a little stretch if you need to, and then we're going to lift back up, pulling in the core, extending this arm all the way up, checking in with your hips, hips stacked on top, and you're going to fold it underneath. Let's do a twist down to the floor. And open it up. So you're rotating down, getting a nice twist here, and open it up. Let's do 3 more here. So if you can notice that my rotation comes from my belly button up. So when it's rotating, my hips don't come with me, just my upper body starts to twist. So it's ringing out through the spine. 1 more. And then you can drop your hips down. We're going to stretch out through this supporting arm. So let's take your child's pose. Stretching out through those arms here. And you can take your opposite arm underneath. So this stretch, I like to kind of walk my fingertips, kind of like a little extra couple inches. You're feeling the shoulder pull up to your ear and getting a nice stretch. And then slowly start to make your way into your full child's pose here. I think you know what's coming next. Slowly start to tuck your toes underneath. You've got to do a little straight planking here. Open up your chest. Let's go all the way out. Shoulders are back. Abdominals are in. We're going to go into a pike first. So we're going to press all the way up through here. I want you to drop your heels down. Lift your heels all the way up high, and then you're going to roll through the spine. Let your neck be the very last piece, and then hold your pike. So we're going up into a pike, dropping the heels down, lifting the heels up, still squeezing the ball here, rolling through the spine, and plank. 1 more. Press it back, dropping the heels down. Let's lift. Rolling through. You're holding this position. Start to bend your knees as you press through those arms. Elongating out of your spine. Think pull the core in. Think shoulders are back. Bending it here. Stretching it out. Bending it through, really flowing through the move here. 2 more. So reminding yourself that the core is supporting the arms. So if your arms are getting fatigued, try to really pull into the core even more. You can always drop down to your forearms And do this a little bit smaller if that helps. Last one. All the way out. Hold the plank. You're going to slowly drop down to your knees. You're going to start to hover your feet up and you're going to squeeze your feet together. So we're in this modified plank position. Your abdominals stay in. We're going to roll through the spine, pressing your arms back, pulling in the chin, slowly rolling through the spine as your feet start to lift. We're going to go into a slight extension here. Open up the chest. Breathing through it, stretching it back. So if your body doesn't feel like it can go into an extension today, you can just hold that modified plank position in a neutral pelvis, in a neutral spine. Rolling through. This is a great moment to pull your shoulders back, really stretching out through your shoulders also. And one more. Rolling through. Lifting up. And then press it all the way back. And then slowly rolling through the spine. Let's go up onto your knees here. Let's roll your shoulders back. If you collect yourself back into center, you're going to take your hands behind your head. I want you to clasp your hands behind your head. We're just going to lift up through here. So you're pulling in the core. We're just going to hinge over to the side very slightly, using your abdominals to lift. We're going to hinge over to the opposite side. So very, very tiny. Up and over, grounding your knees. Let's go over to the side here. And then over. And then we're going to rotate. We're going to do a slight rotation over to the side. Back to center. Think your abdominals twist you so your arms aren't leading you. You're just taking your arms with you for the ride. Back to center. Up and over. Up and over. So what I mean by up and over is like you're lifting up and then twisting. It's never just like a twist. It's never just a twist there. You're going up, 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 almost like you're corkscrewing up to the ceiling. One more each side. And last one. Twist. Back to center. Start to reach your hands forward. Just take your hands back behind you. Reach them forward. We're going to hinge backwards, reaching your hands out. Lifting up through here, stretching it out, and lift. Your whole body should feel like it has been worked. I'm sure you feel some of this glute work here also. And lift. Let's do one more. And lift. It's amazing. Let's grab onto your ball. We're going to flip your feet into the front of the mat. So we're going to do some single leg work with the ball. So I'm going to start with my left foot on the ball. I'm going to plant my feet about hip width apart, knees are about hip width apart. We're going to start by some core activation here. Your hands are underneath your knees. You're going to stay lifted. We're just going to scoop and roll back very slightly. So you're kind of going into a full C curve. You can allow your chest to curl forward too. And then start to lift all the way up. Scoop and roll back, pulling in the core. And lift it all the way back up. Also, if you're pre or postnatal or have any sort of diastasis or a fused spine from scoliosis, this is your position that you're going to do instead of a roll down. So when we roll all the way down, you can continue this move. And lift it all the way up. One more. And lift. And you're going to start to extend your hands all the way out. We're going to slowly roll this leg out as you roll down towards the floor. So we're stretching out through that leg as you reach your hands all the way up through here, pulling in the chin. Let's slowly start to draw this knee in. Give myself more space. And then extending it out. So you're finding length in two different directions. You're reaching your leg all the way out as you take your hands up over your head. And then draw it in here. So we're keeping this very slow and controlled, very intentional. We're trying not to pick up too much momentum. If you need some extra support also, you can grab on underneath your knees here. Give it a little pull. You also don't have to go all the way down. You can go halfway down as you extend your leg. It's a little bit of a trickier roll down than our traditional 2-foot planted roll down. So really listen to your body and feel what feels right here. And then let's lift it all the way up. And then you're going to roll back about halfway here, keeping the abdominals in, but trying to get a nice wide chest. We're going to stretch that leg out straight, bend the knee to come in. So you're just elongating it out, bend the knee to come in, and in. Really stretching it out, feeling your oblique pull it in. We worked on all that glute work, so I want you to try to tap into this area as your heel pulls in, so it's like behind your leg is pulling in. And one more. We're going to add an arm. So you're going to reach your right hand underneath your supporting foot. Your left hand extends it out. So you're going to do a nice little twist. So we're opening up the chest. You're going to give yourself a moment here. And then exhale, pull back to center. You're going to go twist, twist. As this shoulder pulls back, you're going to rotate back to center. Let's do 3 more here. 2 more. And 1 more. This is your inhale as you rotate. Exhale back to center. Good. We're going to slowly roll all the way down, stretching out through that leg, peeling through the spine. Arms come all the way up. Feel this nice thoracic stretch. We did a lot of support in your kind of between your shoulders and that thoracic spine. So use this moment to stretch out through that area of your body. All the way out. And then pull the chin in. And now we're going to take this foot. We're going to go from a parallel knee to a slightly externally rotated, and then you're going to take your hands back behind you. So you're going to find a nice stance here. Your knees are slightly open. We're going to pull up in the core. We're just going to bend the elbows as you round backwards very slightly, pulling up in the core. So it's just like a very slight tuck as you press back in the elbows, and then lifting up. We're just trying to find this position. So you're kind of pressing back, bending the elbows. We're going to lift up here and hold, and then you're going to start to extend this leg out. Draw the knee in here. So you're stretching it out, drawing the knee in. Your leg rolls out on the ball. You're externally rotating. You're trying to get into your inner thigh. You're going to get into your low abdominals and your obliques, keeping your chest nice and wide. Try not to allow your chin to go too far forward or too far back. We're kind of holding it nicely in the center. And 1 more. And then we're going to come right to here. We're going to hold. We're going to start to lift your opposite leg up. So we're going to find this position here. We're going to switch legs. So you're stretching out and then stretching out. Good. And all the way out. You're going to pull in the core, really elongating out through that leg. Really feeling that inner thigh work here too. Keep breathing through it. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. And you can bend the knee in, drop that foot down. We're going to turn your legs into parallel. We're going to slowly make your way all the way up, reaching your hands all the way out, and then peeling through the spine, stretching through this leg here. Arms come all the way up over your head. And then we're going to circle them around, start to bend this knee in. So we're now all the way down onto the floor. Before we do anything, I want you to stretch out through this hip flexor. Start to draw your right knee into your chest. And then you're going to take your hands behind your head. I want you to clasp your hands and take them in the nape of your neck so that your hands are supporting your neck and your shoulders. We're going to do a very slight tuck. It's not a tuck. We're doing a neutral pelvis, but a slight curl up in the upper body. So if your lower back starts to hurt, you can tuck your spine slightly, but we want to try to remain neutral here. Open up your chest. You're going to start to lengthen this leg up to the ceiling. You're going to drop it down to the floor, bend the knee in, and stretch it up. So we're elongating now through here, really stretching out through that leg, keeping your upper body lifted, trying to keep both hips neutral here as well. 2 more, and 1 more. And then reversing, so bending the knee and stretching it all the way out, lifting it up. So we're finding length in both sides of your body. Stretch it out. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. Good. And then bend this knee through here. We're going to switch legs. So you're going to stretch out this leg as you start to draw on the opposite leg, reaching it out. Starting to stretch it out. So you're going to take this really slow. The quicker you start to move here, the more your body starts to shift forward and back, we really want to focus on grounding into a neutral pelvis so that with the momentum of your knees coming in and out doesn't shift your body. You're really stabilizing here. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. And now adding a slight rotation over to the ball, the leg with the ball, just that side, slight rotation. So we're going a slight twist. And let's do 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. Stretching out through this leg, bending this knee into your chest. I'm going to teach you a pretty challenging move to get up. So if this feels like too much, you can just get right up, take a butterfly stretch. But we're going to hold this leg into tabletop, reach your hands up over your head. We're going to pull the chin in. We're going to roll all the way up. You're going to start to draw this leg in as you stretch out through that leg. And then slowly roll all the way down, switching legs here. Let's go all the way up. So you can always take a stretch instead of this move if it feels too challenging. It's a great one to keep practicing as you're starting to master your roll down. Still challenging for me also. Takes a lot of core stability, a lot of centering of your spine, aligning in the spine as well. 1 more. Let's lift all the way up. Dropping this foot down, stretching out through that opposite leg. You can reach your hands down. I'm going to flex this foot, grab on, and then drop my head and take a stretch. So you can feel kind of that stretch behind that whole leg. And take a deep breath here. So you're also going to take your head down so you can stretch out of that neck. Okay, let's go over to the other side. This is one of my favorite series just for, in terms of like lengthening, I just feel like your body just pulls apart. So really focus on that when we're lengthening out. That is kind of the goal of like stretching your body out. Taking your opposite foot here. We're going to start by activating the core again through the center. It's slightly off on the other side, so we want to kind of even it out here. Grabbing on underneath your knees. Scoop and roll it back very slightly. You're going to round in the spine. Lifting it right back up. Scooping and rolling back. And let's lift back up. So rounding back through here. Lifting it up. So you're checking in to make sure that both feet are trying to stay grounded. You're not going too far back so that your feet want to lift. You're still feeling this behind the leg pull, so we're trying to activate kind of underneath your glute here. 1 more. And lift. We're going to start to roll all the way down as we extend through this leg, stretching out through the leg, rolling all the way down. Taking your hands up over your head, let's pull the chin in. Slowly start to draw that knee in as you lift. Reach it all the way out. So now's that moment. Think stretch, stretch, almost like someone's pulling your toe in that direction, but your spine is trying to fight in the opposite direction. We're creating length in your vertebrae, trying not to hold everything so tightly, trying not to be so wound up inside of our body, really lengthening out. There's really rarely any moments where we feel kind of like that oppositional pull. So we want to allow this movement to be meditative, to have that hold, to have that reach so that you really feel like you're uplifted when you're done. Your body feels supported. Scoop and roll all the way down. And then let's lift all the way back up. And now we're going to scoop and roll halfway here. We're going to grab on underneath this knee. So one thing to check, make sure the shoulder isn't curled forward. You're dropping forward, extending this arm out, stretching through this leg. Let's get a nice twist over to the side. Use your abdominals to pull back to center. Stretching out through the leg, nice twist. So don't allow your twist to go too big so that this hip wants to open up as well. You just want to make sure that the rotation comes on the spine. You're going twist, twist, twist. 3 more. 2 more. And last one. Take a deep inhale as you twist. And exhale back to center. Whew, hello. Okay. Second side, it's like mentally I feel like I know what's going on, but physically it feels a little bit more challenging. Open up your knees, hands here. And then you're going to lift up out of the waist, pulling in the core. Both knees are externally rotated. Just start to bend your elbows. We're going to pull the core and you can kind of round slightly, lifting it up very slightly. You can put some weight onto your palms, but really it's trying to be mostly core. Your arms are just here to open up. Add some extra little support for your hip flexors and your lower back. One more. And lift. And now we're going to start to stretch this leg out. Draw the knee in here. So when you're drawing it in, you're feeling like the pull is now your heel pulling towards your pelvic floor, but your pelvic floor is reaching out towards your heel. So if that makes any sense, it's like two different directions. They're pulling together, almost like there's a rubber band kind of going like this. And in. And let's do a few more here. Keep breathing. And one more. And then we're going to start to hover this opposite leg. So you're keeping the core in here. We're going to start to switch legs. So you're stretching it out. And out. So trying to stabilize your shoulders. Your shoulders are staying square as your legs move here. Trying to keep your tailbone square also. Let's do two more here. One more. Bend this in. You're going to take your feet back into parallel. Press yourself all the way up. We're going to extend your arms all the way out. We're going to slowly roll all the way down, stretching through this leg. Taking your hands up over your head. And let's pull this knee into your chest. Give it a nice pull. Stretching through this hip flexor. So you're kind of elongating out through your toe. You're going to start to take your hands behind your head. Let's curl up looking towards your abdominals. Press your head into your arms. Ground your tailbone into neutral. We're going to start to extend this leg all the way up. You're going to drop it down to the floor, bend the knee in, stretching it up. So we're going to find a nice range of motion here. But if your leg lifts up too high where you feel like you have to collapse in the spine, take it a little bit lower. It can even be like right here if you're finding that that's where your neutral pelvis will hold. And that's totally okay. Stretch it out. And let's do one more here. And then we're going to reverse. You're bending the knees, stretching through that leg. Lift it up. Stretching it through. You're just at a very slight lift in the upper body. It's not very high at all. It's mostly keeping your spine nice and flat. So this is really great for diastasis repair, where you're really starting to pull your abdominals in, or just really cinching up the waist in general. One more. And then bend this knee in here and hold. We're going to switch legs. So you're going to draw this leg and stretching it out and extend. So you're lengthening out through here, keeping your hips in neutral, stretching it out. All the way out. Starting to twist towards this right knee here. Slight rotation back to center. Slight rotation here. And twist. Let's do three more. You're almost trying to look past your shoulder, not so much trying to tuck in towards your knee. That'll just create some bulky abdominals here. You want to feel the rotation come very inwards inside of your spine, kind of very deeply rotating there. One more. And then lay all the way down. We're going into this full roll-up, so you can find your stretch here if you want to skip out on these. Or if you want to just keep practicing, you can use your arms underneath your knees also. Reach your hands up through here. We're going to slowly start to lift up. You're going to draw this knee in, stretching out through that leg, bending the knee in as you start to switch the legs, roll all the way down. Let's curl it up here. Pulling in the core. Almost trying to even out as much as possible. Let's lift it up. Try not to yank in the upper body. Also make sure that your abdominals are controlling you here. So you can use a little bit of momentum in the arms, but then right in this moment, it's abdominals to lift. One more here. Woo. Drop that foot down, stretching out through here. You can flex this foot. dropping the head, taking a nice stretch. You can elongate out through your neck. Oh, feels so good. It also feels really nice in the spine, so we had a lot of moments to really create that mobility in the spine. Okay, let's take the ball behind your left knee. So we're going to find this, we're going to make our way onto our elbows here. I'm just going to do a little bit of glute work, trying to still mobilize in the hip. You're going to ground this knee underneath your shoulder. Your supporting leg is underneath your hip, kind of in line with your shoulder. Start to hover this leg up. So I want you, before you do anything, to stretch out of your spine. Soften this top foot. You're going to feel like there's energy going out of the top of your head and also out of the knee that's behind you. So you're stretching in two different directions. You're going to drop the knee down and lift it up. So you're trying to keep that hip square towards the floor. Drop it down and lift. Tiny movements here, still squeezing the ball. And lift. Let's do two more. And lift. One more. And lift. We're going to hover in this position. Start to walk yourself up onto your hands. We're lifting up through here, and now we're going to draw the knee in, lifting it up. So your knee is not going to be able to lift as high, but we're trying to keep your spine neutral. And lift. Still connecting into the obliques here. And lift. Let's do two more. One more. You're going to hover in this position as you drop this arm in, so it's the same arm as the leg that's down. We're going to open up the hips here. So we're going to pull it in. You're going to start to draw this knee into your side. Take it slightly back in line with your body. So now your whole body is rotating over to the side. Tiny in and out. Keeping the core engaged. Trying to keep a neutral pelvis here. Try to keep your shoulders dropped. Let's do two more. And one more. And then you're going to pull your knee in here. We're going to clamshell down, but the clamshell is also going to open up that bottom hip. So it's mostly about the bottom hip opening up to open that top hip. You can see I'm trying to pull my pelvic floor kind of towards my shoulders. So I'm like opening it up, going lifting, 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 lifting up off that supporting leg. It really changes this move and does not make it just about the glute. You're lifting, opening up the hips. So equally, we want to stretch the pelvic floor as we want to strengthen. So it goes in both ways. We don't want a tight pelvic floor. We want it mobilized. Two more. Opening it up. And one more. Open it up, up, up. And drop it down. Beautiful. Let's grab onto the ball. Let's take a pigeon stretch. I'm going to take my left leg forward because that was the leg that I just did. Stretch it all the way down. You can take your hands underneath your head. You can also take your ball here and prop your head on top of it. Just to support your neck in line with your spine. Take a couple deep breaths. And let's go right over to the other side. So we're going to take the ball behind your opposite knee. Give it a squeeze. Make sure that you really have a grip on that ball. Okay, so we're going to want to try to like connect into kind of the smile area underneath your glute and your hamstring the entire time. So you're constantly pulling that in. Let's go onto your forearms here. As I say that, my ball's falling. Squeeze it a little bit better here. There we go. Okay. Soft foot on the top. Your weight is shifted slightly forward, so your abdominals are in. We're going to drop the knee down to the floor and lift it up. So dropping it down and lifting it up through here. Doing a full range of motion, keeping the core engaged. Trying to put as little weight onto your supporting knee as possible, so you're really trying to lift up through the core. Two more. And one more. And then you're going to hover this leg up. Start to walk yourself up onto your hands. Checking in to make sure your weight is evenly distributed. You're lifting up off your shoulders. You're going to drop the knee down. Lift it up. Ooh, the shakes here. So you're keeping your hips parallel to the floor. Drop it down and lift. Let's do 3 more here. 2 more. And 1 more. Hover up in here, we're going to drop down to your arm and now open up to the side. So now your whole body opens up. You're also lifting up off that supporting knee. We're going to start to draw that knee into your side, taking it back slightly. Shoulders are back, still squeezing the ball. If your neck is bothering you at all, you can always drop it down to the floor. Let's go here and back. Keep pulling in the core. So you're thinking oblique, you're thinking glutes, you're also thinking supporting leg. We're going to keep your knee in here, you're clamshelling down, but it's about that bottom hip opening up, stretching all the way through the pelvic floor, all the way out of that top knee. And then pull it down. So resisting in both directions. You're opening it up, opening it up, opening it up. Drop it down. 3 more. Open, open, open. The top leg already knows what to do. The bottom leg needs a little bit of help to open up that hip. So focus more on that bottom hip opening up than the top hip, and the top hip will open up more because of that. 1 more. Open, open, open. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a pigeon stretch on that leg. Okay, going forward through here. My supporting leg is burning because we did that other side first, but we're going to do the opposite side of your pigeon stretch. You can drop your head down here. Take a couple deep breaths. And then we're going to lay over onto your back. I want you to lay all the way down. We're going to take the ball between your knees. We're going to give it a squeeze here and take your feet together. So you're going to take your knees directly on top of your hips. You're going to stretch out through the spine. I want you to start to reach your hands up to the ceiling here. So you're grounding your tailbone, squeezing the ball, hands are up over your head. You're going to take your hands down by your side. Start to reach your hands all the way up over your head, and you're trying not to arch in the spine. You're still keeping the abdominals in. Hands are down here. Stretch it all the way out. Keep the core engaged. And then all the way out. And let's do a few more here. And out. 1 more. And then up and over your head. And then take your hands up to the ceiling. We're going to start to bend your elbows down to the floor. Pressing your arms all the way up, pulling in the core. Bending it down, opening up the chest, pushing it all the way through. Still a lot of abdominal work here. And lift. And bend it down. And lift. And then we're going to bend the elbows here. We're going to rotate your fingers over your head. So you're opening up the chest. Pull it back to center. Opening it up. Pull it back to center. Let's do a few more here. Opening it up. Back to center. 2 more. And 1 more. Reaching your hands all the way up. Let's take your arms all the way out into a T. I'm going to scoot over so I have some space to really reach out through my hands, squeezing the ball. You're going to dip your legs over to the sides. You're going to twist in the spine, using your abdominals to come back to center. Let's go over the opposite direction. You're going to go twist, twist, twist. Pulling back to center. Let's rotate. You can lift that opposite hip up off the ground. Over to the side. And let's twist. And twist. Back to center. You're going to grab on underneath your knees. Let's do a little rolling like a ball here. Slowly starting to roll up through here. Pulling in your core, lifting it up. Let's scoop it back. Pulling in the abdominals and lift. Scoop it back and lift. Let's do 3 more here. Really rolling through the spine, controlling it from your core. 1 more. And lift. Let's take a butterfly stretch for a second. You can open up your knees, taking the ball in front of you, rolling it all the way out. You're going to also start to roll the ball over to one side. You're going to stretch it out. You can drop this arm down as you roll this arm out to the side here. Let's go over to the other side. Stretching it out. And then back to center, stretching through those arms. And then we're going to lift it up here. We're going to sit on top of the ball. So we're going to do a little bit of a stretch in a different way. I mentioned that pelvic floor stretch and strengthening, so we have to make sure that we also stretch out. You're going to take one foot in, one leg out to the side here. So you're going to find a nice position here where you're right through the center. We're going to rotate over towards this leg. You're going to start to pull your abdominals back as you draw this leg in, shifting it out so you get kind of a glute massage. This is a really great way to get a little bit of a stretch in your glute. If you don't have a foam roller, you can do this with a foam roller as well. But what I like about the ball is it kind of adds that nice circular mobility where it stretches a little bit of everything. And then one more. And then back to center, and you're going to reach your hands forward. You're just going to stretch out as much as you can. So you're going to open up your hips, open up this opposite hip. Your tailbone is on top of the ball. Also, I know a lot of people suffer from some sciatica, also if you're sitting a ton, so this is a great way to kind of massage through some of that. You can also sit on top of the ball when you're working, or you're just hanging out. It stretches, it creates a little bit less pressure on that area too. Let's come back in, let's go over to the other side. We're going to go right to here. Hands are going to rotate slightly over to the side here. We're going to pull your hips back and then forward. And then you can feel how this is still abdominals by pulling it back. Your abdominals are still working here. Let's do two more. One more. And then twist it forward, stretching it out, dropping the head down. And then we're going to bend both knees, so taking both feet kind of wide here. Now you're going to drop your head straight through the center, reaching through your arms, dropping the head down, opening up your hips. And then let's lift up. We're going to lay down again. Let's take the ball underneath your tailbone. Let's go all the way down. Lifting your hips up and taking the ball right here. You're going to reach your hands around, grab onto the ball, taking your legs up to the ceiling, give them a little wiggle. You're going to bend one knee, drop this leg down. You're going to stretch through the spine, lift it up. Let's stretch and lift. Keeping your shoulders relaxed, stretching it out, and stretch. And then drop this leg all the way down, pulling this knee into your chest, elongating out of your hip. And let's switch sides. And you can drop your feet down, lift your hips up off the ball, slowly roll through your spine, one vertebrae at a time. Give yourself a hug here. You can rock side to side. And then we're going to lift all the way up. And you're done. That was 60 minutes. Great job. Oh. Okay. How are we feeling? That was a pretty intense one, I have to say. I added some pretty complicated moves there, but I do find that the more you practice and the more you commit to trying these moves, all of a sudden it'll be so connected in a way that you'll feel empowered by doing these moves. And it's really, there's a lot of different modifications that can work towards them. If you're getting them right away, great. If not, also great. It doesn't matter. We're going to build all of the strength. It's such a different type of mobility in your body that if you're not familiar with adding that much mobility or adding that type of articulation, it can be a little bit foreign, but keep at it. I love you all. I'm posting my schedule today. There's some new additions, and yeah, I love you. Have a great Sunday. Have a great Monday off if anybody has that day off for the holiday, and I will see you soon. Bye.